Good morning, world. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas T. Canary. It is so good to see y'all this morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever the heck in the world you are. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we got another email academy happening today. Super excited about this. Yes, so email academy, you had me at hello, open bracket, first name, closed bracket. Yes, I wanted to make sure I emphasize that bracket. So yes, you had me at hello, open bracket, first name, closed bracket. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know them. They're the stars of the show. They're amazing as always. We've got Natalie Lynch, the principal product manager over at Mailjet. Natalie, how's it doing today over in Paris?
I'm in Toulouse, but it's
Or
quite well.
even better, somewhere I
Right.
haven't been yet. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you're with us. Glad you're with us. And representing the northeast side of the states today, Julia Ritter, senior email marketing manager. You've probably gotten her emails before. World famous. Julia, how are you doing today?
World famous, such a stretch. Staying cool, staying cool. Thank you. How you doing?
Not bad. It's a sunny day here in Austin, Texas, so I'm very happy about that. It's dark in my office, but hey, I like to keep it that way. So good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. I'm glad you're with us. All right, giving a shout out to looks like we got some people from York, UK, from London, from Mexico City, Cologne, Denmark, Phoenix, Arizona. Woo! Stay cool out there. Baltimore, good to see y'all. Good to see you. Oh, hey, what's up, Mississippi? Hope y'all are well. Hope y'all are well. Real quick, I want to talk about our amazing folks in the support. We've got Anastasia and Mihail helping us answer questions in the back end for some Q&A. So big thanks to them. They're amazing as always. And Laura Ittner, our producer and leader of this series. So grateful for their support as always. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let Nally and Julia take it away because they got a lot to tell y'all about You Had Me at Hello. So I'll see y'all towards the Q&A.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hop into it. So today on Email Academy, we're going to talk about getting personal or personalization. So what personalization means and why it matters, modern tactics and real life examples of personalization and email marketing, and tips to test and improve your email strategy on personalization, as well as how to use Mailjet to apply some of these strategies that we'll be talking about. That's what we got coming for you today.
It's a big day.
So what is personalization when it comes to email marketing? Well, simply put, it means tailoring, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying.
Tailoring.
Thank you. The
Got it.
content, experience, the user base, and what you know about them for a more meaningful experience with your brand. So this means going beyond that simple first name on the recipients of the email, those subject lines, and really personalization. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's late for me. Personalizing those emails to ensure you're utilizing the information and the data that you have on them to deliver content that is relevant to them. So this is really making meaningful emails that land in the inbox in a meaningful way. So I think we got a poll coming up, yeah?
I think so. I'm trying to figure out how to, oh, there it goes. Okay, so go to the polls tab to vote for your answer of what's your biggest challenge with email personalization.
Yeah, let us know. What are you struggling with the most? Do you not have enough data, maybe not enough time or resources, don't know how to segment effectively, or unsure of where to start? Let us know where you're really struggling the most. We really want to understand where you're coming to us from today. So hopefully we can get you that information as we move forward. Never enough data in the chat. I hear that. Okay,
So
it
do
looks
I.
like not enough data. Yeah, not enough data.
Wow.
Yeah, adds up. I think that's one of the siloed data is a very good point.
That's a good point. Yep.
Clean data. Yep. This chat's on fire.
All
right. I mean, it definitely looks like we have not enough data, but we also have some people in here, struggling with not enough time or resources, unsure of where to start. And finally, some people who don't know how to segment effectively, which can be a skill. So, and it all starts with that data. So we'll keep it open for a little bit. If you haven't voted, get us your answers. We'd love to see where you're at, and we'll hop back into that content.
Okay. I just want to note two things. One, this will be recorded, and you will receive the recording tomorrow via email, or you can come back to the same link later today that you used, the same link that you used to access this this morning, and then it'll be ready for you. So two options there. And then also, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A tab so that we can answer those at the end of the webinar.
Yes, keep those
Okay,
questions
great.
coming.
Natalie, the breeze in your hair right now is like so, you're a model. Like, good for you.
I've got the fan going, keeping it cool over here as well.
Okay, so thank you. I was just about to share that. Okay, so why is first name not enough? Just using hello first name. Because email is not one size fits all, right? We recently did a survey of email marketers across multiple countries, and 26% of survey respondents said they receive as many as 50 emails during a day. Think about yourself, like how many email addresses you have. I have a lot. How many emails do you get per day, and like how many you're actually paying attention to? First name, let's go beyond first name to actually get their attention, so that you can earn that engagement, earn that so that they know they can come back to you, and your emails are actually paying attention to their wants and needs. Attention is earned, not given. How is it earned? By actually giving them what they want. It's about relevancy. Relevancy? Is that a word? Relevance, timing, and empathy, meeting the customer where they are, meeting that recipient where they are. And they expect tailored experiences across channels. With the technology we have today, there is, plenty of opportunity to tailor it to your audience so that you have actually gained their trust. Trust drives performance, again, so they keep coming back to you, so that because they know that you can trust you'll provide them with a great experience. Think TLDR. If your message could work for anyone, it will struggle to resonate with someone. Strong personalization. Wow. I don't know why that word's hard. Strong personalization sharpens relevance without narrowing reach. So you can do this in a couple. We are going to talk about simple ways to do this, more complex ways to do this, so that it's not going to be so much work for you that it can't be done. There are simple things you can do to make it feel more personal to your audience while not overloading your bandwidth and your day-to-day strategy.
Okay, so your audience, act like you know them. The personalization means a lot of things. So obviously we start with segmentation. Segmentation gives us that basis to understand what our audience is going to be like, so we can start tailoring that. But beyond that, we want to start with the basics. Obviously, we know their name. Do we know their company, their location, or their language? And can we create content specifically for that? Starting with segmentation allows us to really dive into that personalization, but from there we can build upon it. We can use those behavioral cues in everyday interactions with our contacts for purchase behavior or email engagement. That is the opens, the clicks, and then the inactivity. On-site or inactivity, stated preferences. They have a favorite color, or any other kind of information you may collect on them that is a preference. Inferred intent or life cycle stage or plan tier. So this allows us to really get into those behavioral triggers, understanding where they are in the life cycle journey with your brand and how you can create content that really resonates with them at that point. We also have contextual. So when and how they engage with you. Was there a time of day or a day of the week that you're seeing your users, your contacts engage? Is there a segment of those users that maybe you could target messages at that time of day? The device type or the preferred channel. So many of us these days interact with our email on our phone more than our computer or iPads. So considering those elements of your audience really allows you to create that customization. Anything you want to kind of add in here?
No, I think these are all great ways to get started. So we're going to show some examples of each of these. The first one we have here is based on location, account info, using just the first name. and how they all kind of tie in together. So your anniversary email from Duolingo. RIP. But Duolingo, you can easily set this up as a looping automation based on when they signed up for your emails or when they signed up for an account with you as a customer with you. So this is almost a set and forget. I don't like to use that term too often, but it could, obviously you want to go back to it and look at engagement, look at and update your emails once in a while, but it's something that can be easily coded dynamically with the first duoversary, and you can change that to second duoversary. That's going to be a different, just like a dynamic field of math of like how long they've been with you. And of course the first name. So, and then the below portion is account information from them, right? Their engagement information with the platform. So it's just personalized. I love a wrapped email. I love that's more behavior, the bottom part, but like I think the top part is more of like a general information.
You just showed you're not up to date. Duolingo is not RIP anymore.
Oh no, the bird is back.
The bird is back.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so glad. I am not up to date on the news. Or on the Duolingo news.
And just a shameless plug on Mailjet, our automations have these pre-built template for you to create this, because it is a great engagement. I don't know about you, but every year on my birthday, I go searching for those coupons, and that is usually very personalized content in the same way anniversaries will be. So great way to personalize, customize, and get attention on your emails.
Yep. As a former Chicago resident and a big fan of going out to dinner, trying new restaurants, I was a subscriber to these Resi emails, and they were a huge hit with me personally. This is based on location of how I've interacted with their app, my recent searches, or even my location of, greetings from Chicago. If you set this up, you can, or like set it up in your profile with Resi. I forget how it works, but it's nice that and they send these out a lot consistently of like what's going on in the area, what you can expect, the top ones, the most rated, what other people like me where other people like me are visiting. So it's based on behavior. So it's very cool. I love it. And then the last one, who doesn't want their weather in their inbox every day, like based on their location? Again, this is probably, you have to set this up when you sign up for the weather app, or based on your recent searches. So it's very clever.
Today
probably trust it more than your app.
Or email other than just looking at our phone for weather. Interesting.
Right. Really exactly.
No, and I think these are great examples, like, the Resi, and shout out to Diego. It's like they've got a humble brag. Their team is working on. I just love to see that, because we pulled these examples as examples we love. So thank you. But I mean, think about how broad this is, whether you're in a rental industry, like I've, set preferences, you get those updates daily. You can tell them how often as a consumer you want emails. All of those are data points that tell you how to customize and deliver content timely that's relevant to your user.
100%. Yeah. It just shows that you're acknowledging their want or need for this information, and then that you're paying attention to like what they're doing, what they're interested in. Also humble brag, because I included my own email for a behavioral. What's that?
I don't know if that's a humble brag.
Not a humble brag whatsoever. I am not following Diego's footsteps. Not humble.
Just a brag.
So we did this last month from Deliverability Academy. We ran a poll. What's your biggest deliverability challenge? And based on those answers, I provided in an email content that would back up or like help them with that problem, like give them a solution to that problem. So it was understanding just the basics deliverability. I included a deliverability basics blog post, but if it was more of like cleaning lists, I included something about validations. And if there wasn't any interaction with the poll, we had a fallback. So it was just basically still saying, here's the recording, thanks for attending. Because even if you don't have the information to personalize it, you still want to give a touch point. You still want to try to get that engagement, so later in their journey, you can get that contact info or like that specific behavior information. like I said, I love a recap email. So this Loom one is so good. You eliminated 66 meetings. I mean, Natalie in the past 3 days has sent me like multiple Loom videos. You'll see one later, but it's a nice way to see like how much time you're saving, how productive you're being. So you can put that in your recipe for later of like how much you've actually accomplished. It's great. And the Something Navy one is a great example of like, it's a twist on an abandoned cart. So the bottom text says, we see what you're eyeing, we love it, and we've curated this collection of styles for you based on what you've seen. Now, if I receive that email and Natalie receives that email, how do we know that we're not receiving the same styles? We don't. But the text is saying that it is curated for us. So basically, they could be curating on the back end like 5 different style points, right? And then using those 5 different styles to send to 1,000 people. Of course, that is probably based on more information of the behavior of their website, but it's just very interesting, and it probably doesn't take a lot of time for them to lift that. Do you think?
No, I wouldn't think so. And honestly, I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like that, but I think that would get me more than an abandoned cart.
Yeah.
So I will abandon cart intentionally, whether I want a coupon later or not. But if I open an abandoned cart email and it was like, hey, like based on what you left in your cart, you may also be interested in that. That's honestly a level of personalization I've never seen. That would get me. That would get me. I'm not gonna lie. It would totally
Newly
work.
does a lot. I don't know if you've heard of the rental brand Newly, but they'll say like, here's your June edit, or they'll do it based on horoscope or things like that. Yeah. Or Warby Parker does horoscope, I think. But it's really interesting because they're using other information and not explicitly saying it's your birthday, but doing it around what you've recently been interested in. So it's very cool. Love to see it. Okay, this last one. So the time and preferred channel. I was thinking like maybe this will be a little hard to show, but this airline email is a key example. So what do you need 48 hours before your flight? You need to know your confirmation number to check in. You need to know your flight details, because who remembers their flight details? I know I don't, until like a week before my flight when I'm actually looking for that information. I think and these are time-based too, because it's going to go off of when your flight is. So they know when your flight is because you booked it through them. And then they're going to trigger it 2 days beforehand with dynamic fields. So there is a first name in here. Of course, your trip to Seville, that's going to be dynamic based on your destination. And then, of course, they probably pull in your itinerary with Liquid Logic or like contact details or whatever, however you store it on your platform. It's genius.
Yeah, I would say this is a really good example that actually spans quite a few different use cases when you think about if event coming up, say, I don't know, like a webinar, but even if you have a physical event, someone booked a service through you, what do you need to know before you go? Do they need to bring anything? What are the details? What are the instructions? What is the parking like? Tell me what the parking like is like before the event, because we all know we're Googling it, trying to figure that situation out if we're millennials. So yeah, these kind of informations, while it's an airline, can apply to so many different brands, especially if there's an event coming up, or tell me the parking situation every time. Give me screenshots, aerials, all of it. But yeah, it can be so useful across brands and not just in airlines. And we're so used to seeing these in airlines, but I want it for every event, comedy shows,
right?
Festivals, because I'm one of those people that's like, where in my email is this? We just learned that the average person's getting at least 50 a day. I booked that 6 months ago. Remind me and give me the information I need.
And this one's cool too, because maybe you don't want to have to go back and find it in your email. So they link to how to download the app, how to set it up in the app. Maybe that's your preference of a channel over email. So you can or then you can opt in for SMS notifications, things like that. So it's working with what they want. I know we're big email fans here, but the audience is what matters, not just
the channel.
The channel.
Yeah, give them what they want.
Give the people what they want.
Those are some great examples. And again, they work across different types of use cases, not just in those. So definitely be thinking on how you can apply them.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the strategy really needs execution. We talked about things that they are probably potentially doing beyond that first name. And when we're executing personalization, we're really thinking about different things within our email marketer or email service provider, as well as our own data set, right? We all said that data, we don't have data. That starts not only with the engagement we have on their emails, but those contact property data. Think about what we're collecting from our users when we're having them sign up to our newsletters or opt into our marketing emails. Segmentation is really going to start us off to allow us to define that audience and make sure that that precise content is going to the correct audience. We can also apply these things in automation. Again, automations to do those annual anniversaries so that we're not manually sending every email, but you can also apply personalizations within those automations, create split conditions based on behavior, dynamic fields, attributes, and properties, as well as dynamic content. So this means that we're not sending 100 emails. Maybe we're sending 10 emails, but we're creating dynamic content within these emails that allows us to personalize it. We're also using email engagement metrics. So have they opened, have they visited, have they interacted? And then website tracking, if you do so. Have they visited, have they abandoned your cart, as well as if else statements. This is a lot of information, but don't worry. Next up, we have a demo. So this is kind of just a good list to check in on to let you know what the basics are. And from here, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to hop into a demo so we can really see what it looks like live.
And I just want to note while you're pulling that up. So we had a note on there to always have a fallback. What does that mean in terms of personalization? So if you have a fallback and it means like you don't have that information. So what do you give instead? Natalie will show that in the demo, but it could be instead of first name, you say hi there or hi you or something like that. And then for automations, it would be if they don't meet the criteria in an automation and the journey that you want them to flow down, what is the other journey they can take if they don't meet that criteria yet? So it's making sure that there's still a route. Sorry,
yeah, it's like the fallback path. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like we don't have it. What are we providing them? So you don't just get hello first name. Bringing it all back. And I do have examples of this in a few different ways. So I'm going to hit play. So we are talking about personalization and action. So really bringing everything that we've kind of just reviewed and looking at what it looks like to build. So step one, defining your audience. For those of you who said you don't know how to segment effectively, this is kind of a quick look at it. So within Mailjet, you can segment. Most ESPs also provide segmentation. And you're going to start defining the audience for your messaging. So what do you want or who do you want to contact? I am selecting has opened in the last 30 days. So these are engagers. These are people who have recently engaged with my brand. And then I believe I select favorite color. So it's a preference of theirs. You can utilize contact properties and like metrics from previous emails. So have they not? Have they clicked? Have they opened? Have they not opened? And then once you kind of calculate and get that preview, if it's not refined enough or there's not enough people, you can kind of play with that data to make sure you have that refined audience so that you're ready to create that custom content. So we want to craft messages that really resonate with our users. Once we have our segments defined, we can get in there and I'm going to show you that hello first name and I'll show you that default value. I put hello you. You don't have to put anything. It could just say hello. But with this, it'll either say their first name or it will put the default value. Next, we're going to take a quick look at using dynamic content. Now, dynamic content is when you set segments, you create different blocks within your email and then apply segments to it. So here, I might be talking a little slow, so I'm going to pause it. You'll see that I have two different sections, one called local vibes, or both called local vibes and big impact. But one is providing information on Atlanta, while the other is providing information on London. I applied a segment to it saying that if their city equals Atlanta or their city equals London, show whichever segment it's up or whichever content block it's applied to. So this means I don't have to create a separate campaign for this. I am providing them that information that's relevant to their location, but I'm also going to provide a default, even with this dynamic content, because maybe I don't have their city information or I haven't covered their city. So I want to give them I want to give them some kind of content that they can take a look at if they don't fall into those criteria. Sorry, I thought I hit pause. Let's play it a little bit more. I always just assume I'll be able to talk really quickly, but looking at this, you'll notice that I segmented it specifically on the content because I want the header to show up for everyone. So that way I'm not duplicating content. I'm not creating extra work for myself. I'm specifically saying, show this to everyone. Show this to everyone I don't have location data on, and then show this to specific people in these locations. One email, and I'm creating segmentation specifically for users. So what does this look like in the inbox? Well, first, let's test. We always want to test. We always want to test, especially on dynamic content. And as you can see within Mailjet, you can kind of fill in that first name, see what it looks like with just the default value. But you can also display it based on your specific segments. This really lets you see what that email looks like, say, if it's the generic, right? You're providing them the default. You'll see that they're getting that header and that generic information. But I can also take a look and see, okay, what if they're in London? What are they going to see? They're not seeing the generic information. They're seeing the stuff that's specific to them. Same with Atlanta, right? Personalization emails, it makes it look very intentional in your inbox. When it lands in your inbox, it really will speak to the user. So I have their first name, and some people are going to get the generic. So they still have valuable content that's relevant to them and my message. But some people will get the unique experience or the personalized experience of information directly to their city based on the content I created. So that really allows us to create that personalized experience with one email, so it's less work. And how do we do all this? Well, we do it on the data we collect. So think very intentionally when we're setting up our forms, our sign-up forms, when we're creating our contacts and collecting them, of what data you need to inform your email content. So I have a lot on here. It's my test account, industry, first name, favorite color is always my favorite silly one to play. I've never, ever gotten an email based on my favorite color. Phone number, all those different things that allow you to really personalize it. Also, your success metrics and your metrics from your campaigns really tell us a lot about our users. It tells us what they've clicked on. It tells us what they've opened, where they've clicked. And all this allows us to create those segments and that specific information that will help us deliver personalized content. Now, quick caveat, you're seeing a lot of email addresses and stats here. This is my demo account. These aren't real email addresses. Well, they're all real email addresses that can reach me. So if you really want to say hi, I never check the inboxes. But all of that information really allows you to create that customized experience for people to really deliver information directly to them that matters to them at the right moment. So a quick little demo on how to apply some of these tactics in Mailjet. I will stop sharing. And we can pop to the slides.
Okay, so how do you optimize once you have an idea for personalization, how you want to implement it, or you have something ongoing for a very long time or ongoing nurture, and how do you optimize it? A/B test everything. I think I say this every single webinar in some capacity. I find a way to say it, but like I A/B test everything with and without personalization, so you can compare the difference. And I mean, I'm biased. I think personalization would win, but it's worth a shot, worth to prove to stakeholders that personalization works, and it's worth the effort. Test consistently. So measure what actually improves engagement. So it could be your subject line. It could be the content itself. It could be the timing. Only do one variable at once, but still test consistently. Sorry, I was reading the chat of Natalie reminded me. And you'll get better answers about what your audiences want. Okay. Use dynamic content and conditional logic to scale without fragmenting your message. So make sure when you're using dynamic content that whatever follows up with it after the dynamic content, or if you have a CTA afterward, or if you have save a block of dynamic content, and then a CTA. Do they make sense together? Make sure that it's not going to be like disjointed for some audiences and work for others. Remember, quality over quantity. Send maybe like less personalization, or like less emails and more personalization, or find the right balance for you. Build a centralized view of your customer by connecting your data sources. So I think I said this in the last webinar as well. Work with other teams to make a centralized view of what your audience is experiencing by looking at other data sources that they have access to. So I'll go to Natalie and ask for advice on what she sees customers engaging with, and what they want out of the platform versus what I'm actually emailing them. Maybe that it doesn't make sense together, or maybe I'm not adhering the emails to what Natalie is seeing in the platform, like what our actual customers are actually doing. So I have to modify the emails. So just use your resources. Track your results using automations and character properties for tags for future segmentation. So that's tracking behavior, or tracking if they open an email, if they click a specific web page or to a specific web page. Use that for future segmentation so that you can send an email based on if they joined a webinar, or if they clicked on your latest blog or your newest sale. So you can use them later, use them in segmentation later, because they'll be interested in another webinar, another sale, something around those lines. Ask your audience for their input. If you don't have the information, you can ask your audience what they want, because it shows that you care, shows that you want to provide them the best experience. And the engagement could be really cool. I'm going to show you an example in a minute. It could be a very interesting experiment for your audience to see like how engaged they are with you, and how much they want to put their effort into getting your emails. Automate what you can. So Natalie showed you an email that could have been a singular campaign, or it could have been in an automation. So it could have been something that she has set up on a loop, like the anniversary email, to just send once a year for like what's the vibe in that area during July. It could have been, and that would be automated so that people could just flow through, and you don't have to import a list of contacts every time. So now, what else? Don't forget to, sorry, this heading does not make sense with the content I put in here. Only personalize when it's appropriate. You don't want to put irrelevant personalizations in an email that isn't necessary to just confuse the user. You wouldn't want to put, hi, John, when it's clearly a mass message. So sometimes I follow this rule in design of like, use a headline, use a body copy, and a CTA together. You wouldn't put a headline and then hi, John. Like, it's clearly a mass message, which is fine. Like, that happens. But like, we need to send mass emails, but then to add personalization into it, it just feels a little bit not necessary. Like, it feels like
Canned.
half-baked.
Yeah, we kind of get the intent behind it, right?
Yeah.
I would also like over personalization can be creepy. Someone mentioned that irrelevant personalization is creepy. Absolutely. Yeah. Over personalization is creepy. I won't name the brand, or I'm not here to call anyone out, but I get an email every now and then with too many details about me, and I'm just like, woof. Well, and that platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like we don't want to feel big brothery to our contacts, but we just want them to know that we are listening to their preferences.
Yeah. You should also pay attention to like privacy laws and data retention laws and things like that. So before you personalize, you don't want to send everything about their account out there or their profile out there if you are not allowed. So be careful with that. Don't forget to account for empty data fields. So have a fallback, like we said. If they don't have a first name, include something that has, that's a terrible example because we're like, go beyond the first name. If they don't have a location in their contact profile, then, you could just give them a default of content that you recently released. Or if they don't have a favorite purchase, or like if they don't have a purchase previously, then include something that you know is a popular item that they might engage with. And then test your dynamic content for each scenario before you send, schedule, automate. Natalie showed this a little bit. I will show you the consequences of not testing properly. Again, it's my own, so I'm going to not brag about myself in that case. But make sure that every personalization tag or every dynamic part of your email actually works for what you're trying to do, make it look like in the inbox. You want to make sure it's all working.
Yeah, and I would say in past webinars, we've always joked that we are a broken record about authenticating your domain, but we are also a broken record with test everything. Make sure you are testing your emails. We want them to land in the inbox beautifully every time. So test.
And usually most ESPs, I think, offer that option in the ESP to give it different scenarios. Like you showed us, the location is Atlanta. Okay, that's definitely showing for Atlanta versus London. It's not showing Atlanta, it's only showing London.
Yeah, we definitely know Mailjet does it. Shameless plug.
Okay, so this is a good example or two good examples of asking your audience. So the bundle quiz, I'm sorry, you can't really see it. Maybe we can zoom in later, but it's showing like which stage someone's at in their pregnancy journey. So like, are they planning, or are they trying to get pregnant? Are they pregnant, or are they postpartum? So obviously the bundle quiz, which is like a fun way to gamify, to understand like where your audience is at, and I should say that specific recipient is at. So where are they? And then if they are planning, you can send them a certain type of content in an automation, versus if they're postpartum, they would get something different, because obviously they're very different experiences. And then the daily drop, this is a very cool, I meant to look at the code for this, but it's a cool way to like just learn more about people. And some of them are actually like very fun. And there's even like a quiz at the bottom. 1 in every blank Southwest passengers are flying using points. Like, how many do you think? Because if you answer that 1 or 2, then they clearly know they're not promoting their points well enough. You know what I mean? So like, they need to put out their points program. They need to market that more. Versus how many countries have you traveled to? Well, if you're a big traveler, maybe they need to know, maybe they need to look at like where you've traveled to suggest something new. Or if you don't travel that often, maybe they look at like more local places to travel. It just depends. It depends.
I love the quiz approach too, because as like prevalent as they are, and like sometimes we'll roll our eyes, so many of us, I won't say everyone, so many of us know exactly what house in Harry Potter. I haven't even seen Harry Potter, and I know which one I'm a part of, right? So we're taking those quizzes. So it's one of those really fun ways to engage our users in kind of a relevant social like context way that is very valuable information, so that you can collect more data. And so many were saying they don't have enough data. And this is a great way to start collecting more data without making it feel like work for your audience.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And then, oh, there it goes. Okay. This is a big oops. So email camp a couple of years ago, my counterpart, Megan, and I we were doing a email debrief where we asked people for emails, and we were going to give them feedback based on copy, based on design. So the hi first name was supposed to be the recipient's first name. However, I forgot to test that the first name field was actually working. And so everyone got an email that said, hi, Megan. Everyone was Megan for a day. And we shortly realized it afterward, and we sent a oops email, of course, and that got very high engagement, let me tell you, as they always do. But you don't want to have to send an oops email. You don't want to be in that situation. National Megan Day was a great day. But it was, oh, and I think someone else had the same mistake. Maybe we hear you, we're there for you. We've all been there. So it's just something that you want to test again to make sure that it's actually working for each scenario. Look at the sample data, just spot check that it's actually pulling in different names or the different content that you need. So it
I have
happens.
a question for you, just something that's relevant, because we're talking about personalization. Obviously, personalization can go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
We all know what those oops emails looks like. So many of us have gotten them. And you even said they get high engagement. What's your strategy with oops emails that you have to send out? Like, we don't want to, but also they're getting high engagement. I've seen some brands use it as a campaign in themselves.
Yeah.
From a perspective, how do you feel about that?
I think an oops email is warranted when it's sending misinformation. So if it's like actual incorrect information. A couple weeks ago, I had a typo in an email for the wrong date of a webinar that only a few people noticed, and I got responses back, and they were all very nice about it. But it didn't. Only like 2 people noticed of many people that I emailed, and we had a lot of registrants for that webinar. So clearly, like, people weren't not registering because of that typo. Luckily. So it just depends on the each case of, is it warranted, or if no one's really going to notice and it's not harming anybody, like, don't waste your time. For this one, we did have a lot of responses.
Typo and like the word "the," not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
How do you feel about the brands that utilize them as like a new campaign? Because I've seen that a lot, where it's like, oh, send an oops email, but it's fun, it's engaging, there's products, so like they're almost utilizing it as, and it makes you wonder, was that an accident, or was that intentional, right? And I almost wonder what that is. That the play?
It's definitely the play, but like, I guess it depends on how you feel about clickbaity situations. If you're open to it and you acknowledge it's clickbaity, you do you. But
I would say it's been mostly pet brands, and I love a good puppy email, and they'll like send the wrong one, and then get like a cute oops email, and I'm just like, all right, more puppies.
I think it could be like, in that case, it's like kind of funny. But yeah, I agree with Shannon over here. They're kind of, it's not, it doesn't hit the mark most of the time.
It feels like it's been a growing trend lately, so I was curious.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that many.
Oh,
I'll have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, I think it's someone's favorite time of the webinar.
Times I appear.
We have summoned him.
Q&A. All right, cool. Man, there's some good engagement here going today. Yeah, a lot of we were all I think we're all bonding over the traumatic experience of not removing tokens correctly from email. I sent a campaign one time. They asked me to send a campaign to our whole list. This is before we had our amazing email marketing manager Julia. But I've sent like 2 cohorts of emails out, and I forgot to remove the subject A and subject B, and it was the worst moment of my email career. So yeah. Anyway,
that happens. Did you send an oops email?
No, I didn't. Everyone kind of just realized.
Did anyone respond being like, why am I subject B?
Yeah. I was like, ooh. But yeah, happy National Megan Day to all who celebrate. So, all right, let's take a look at these questions, shall we? Okay. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Patricia because she gave us a long one, and that we actually can look at that whole thing.
Oh, great.
So, okay. Yeah, so let me put that up here, and also our amazing support agents were given some answers as well. All right, so Patricia, we're gonna do our best here and answer from all these. Well, actually, hold on, let me throw this one up here really quick. Her initial question, she asked, how can you justify personalization tied to resource capacity, especially with limited data? And then the part 2 of it was, for example, in our trial to activation email onboarding journey, currently we send a time-based email comms nurture with no segmentation currently, except for whether they're an SMB versus accounting firm, which is their demographic. Anything deeper than that, the company hesitates given less than, she actually corrected this point to a 2,000 audience per month and less than 50 activations. So sample size to test if personalization works is not statistically feasible. Natalie, Julia, what are you thinking?
Um, you're muted, Natalie, so I'm taking this one first. So I think I A/B test anything over 1,000, so that at least there's 500 and 500 for each test. Of course, if you were to do multiple tests, like 5 at one time of the same variable, like but 5 different subject lines or something, you would want to make sure you had the right amount of context so it's statistically significant. Okay, so I guess what are you collecting on sign up that would make sense for you to use personalization? Is there anything that when they're an accounting firm, like their industry, like what kind of accounting they do or time of year for them, like when are they the most busy? That could be something to kind of infer from them. But you could also use the A/B testing to like see what they most respond to, especially like on what plan they're signing up for. I'm looking our trial to activation. So it's what if you have multiple trials or you only have one trial, if you can kind of infer from that. And also like what are they doing once they're engaging with your emails or engaging with your product in general. If you can put that into if you can sync that into your email platform and try to use that behavior, I think that's a way to like show them you're paying attention so that and you can get more activations. Natalie.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the how do you justify it to the senior leadership part, because that is a big part of my job. And I would say, for one, create a PowerPoint. Senior leadership loves PowerPoint. Start there. Hope my boss isn't watching. Hi, boss. Step 2, data. Is your onboarding sequence performing really well? Have you seen an upcrease or downcrease, like a decrease over time? What does your engagement look like, and what is the follow through with that? Now take that and extract it. Look at industry data, and kind of put together that business case. It can be very simple. It can be very easy to put together and just say, hey, you're missing out on money. Like we're literally leaving money on the table because you're unwilling to do it at this point. However, anything over here, like Julia was saying, that 500 to 500 can give you a lot of inference on your data set, right? I run a lot of surveys and I run a lot of interactions with customers from a product perspective. And to justify that, I'm really looking at the opportunity cost of my time. Sometimes look at the data and we say, you know what, it might not be worth it. But at the end of the day, most of the time when it comes to this personalization and creating these separate ones, you can also do it in increments. So you don't have to sit there and like personalize everything right away. You can put together a project plan that says, okay, Q1, we're going to introduce this and it's going to cost me 3 hours of my time, but the output should be this or could be this, and that's worth that 3 hours. So chunk it up. That's how that I would justify those things. Start with the PowerPoint, get data on trends from your current one, and really break it up so that you can show that the input of effort is worth the results you're going to get.
100%. Yeah. And you could argue that, okay, if you're doing the same thing over and over, you're not making any optimizations. That's why there's only 50 activations. So sample size to test it would be, your sample size to test is that 2000. It's not the 50 activations. The 50 activations are a different sample set because they've activated. It's a different segment.
Sounds like you need to personalize that onboarding experience to increase your activations.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good argument. Like, what's the definition of insanity is a bad word in this case, but like doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's, you need to test and mix it up a little bit. And
just as with so many trends, email changes daily, weekly, and we have to keep up with that. If you have any further, like this justification is literally like my bread and butter. So if you do have further questions, I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk you through it.
Awesome. Thank you, Patricia, for throwing that one out there to us.
Yes, thank you. I love the detail.
Yeah, seriously, that's a massive help. And speaking of testing, because this was kind of going along, Marsha was wondering, hey, regarding optimization, test consistently. How can you find patterns, for example, what actually improves engagement when you're testing different variables with different content and different audiences? I find this very challenging because specific things don't behave consistently.
Hmm.
People be doing what they want to do, man. Julia, I'm
Humans are
gonna
going
let
to
you.
human.
Humans are getting human. We're so inconsistent. Julia, take it away.
Okay, so I see that our support team, amazing support team, has started to answer. But you could, is the segmentation the same, or is it different each time? Pay attention to that. Or is your list so large that it really should be segmented into different audiences? Because some people, say you're emailing to 5,000 people, each 1,000 is like a different cohort, technically, a different interest of something. But if you're sending one email out to them, it's random, right? You're testing randomly. So 50% may come from segment A, whereas, or segment 1, whereas another 50% may come from segment 5. So it may be different because of different segmentation strategies there. So just pay attention to that. Finding patterns. So when you're looking at, so we're recently trying to do something with design, and we're testing it for a specific amount of time to see if it has an impact in engagement. And then we're gonna do it for 1 quarter, and then the next quarter is going to be a different design and see if that increases. Same segment of people. So depending on what design they choose, we're going to keep going with that one. But it's like you got to pick one variable for one time, for a specific amount of time, have a plan, and then what would you do as your next test to see if it's still working. If you have more examples, please, or like more specifics, please write them in, or again, like reach out to us and we can give you more feedback. Natalie, anything to add to that one?
No, I think that's more of your alley than mine. So I
Awesome. Thank you, Marcia, for throwing that one out there to us. Okay, let me go and stop sharing that one. Okay, we only got a few more here left.
Oh, I also want to note about that one. What are you
Mhm.
considering for engagement? Is it open and click, which we all do, but is it human open or bot open? Human click or bot click? Because that could be throwing things off. For example, like most ESPs should do this. Mailjet does. They separate bot versus human engagement. So that like more accurate reporting is going to help you there with trying to identify like a specific trend. Because if those bots are out there clicking everything before a human can even see it, it's going to miss.
And they are.
And they are. They're everywhere.
Can I pick one, Thomas?
Yeah, of course.
And this one got answered already, but I wanted to share it because I love this question for so many reasons. When we all get started, we're all clueless, and that's almost the most fun place to be for me. I'm a giant nerd, but there are so many resources. Not only the one that was shared to you directly. I didn't read their full answer, so I apologize if I repeat some of it. We have email academies, all of our past ones. You can go watch. We put clips on our YouTube. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, ask us questions. We have support documentation, and we're always ramping that up because it can be overwhelming and it can feel like there's so much to take in all at once. And it's really about building the basics. Mm-hmm. So know that all of these Email Academy resources, both in English and I believe other languages, are available on YouTube. You can catch up. You can binge watch us. But also you can check out our documentation, which we're consistently updating, and feel free to reach out to us with questions. We love hearing from our users, our non-users, our marketers, our community, all of it. So I just want to throw that out there. Julia, have any thoughts?
No, I completely agree. I was going to say send the series, but I think that's great. And if you do reach out to us on LinkedIn, please include a note that you came from Email Academy so that we know who you are.
Yes, because unfortunately sometimes spammers find us.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I just dropped our YouTube channel. It has all of our Email Academy series in there. You can find all three of us in there. And also I dropped our main page. It's got all the same stuff as well. You can kind of keep up to date too with that, and also stay up to date and make sure you're receiving all of our Email Academy emails. So yeah. Yes. Little plug there. All right, I think we got time for one more here. Let's see. Okay. Some good stuff. We talked to Marsha, Patricia, Christy's question. I think Ricardo was asking, how can you both automate as much as possible and personalize as much as possible?
I like it.
Love it. Natalie, do you want to talk about automations there?
Yeah, I will say the first point is, we said it earlier, we say the word set and forget. We don't actually mean forget.
Right.
Creating those automations for the annual workflows, the anniversaries, the onboarding series, the education, getting to know your customers. You can do all of that through building the sequence, and then every single email can actually include personalization as well. It can include those, getting to know your user a little bit more. You can pull in data, or you can segment who that email goes through conditions, because you can really create, like, condition 1 has clicked in the last 30 days. Condition 2 has not. Those were terrible examples, but you can really create personalized steps through the journey based on, like, have they resubscribed, right? Like, they new again to me, or they brand new. Maybe that's a different onboarding series,
Right.
or, just different ways of that. So those automations, they're meant to automate the email send, not automate the content, right? So we are still monitoring. And I also saw someone ask kind of a question on how you optimize those and utilizing those data. And I would say comparing those campaigns and how they're performing against each other allows you to introduce more personalization. So really building out your conditional filters in those automations with those segmented targeted groups of audiences, and defining those well, can help you automate. And then you set it, you watch it, and
You'll watch it.
you watch it from a distance, right? Checking it on every now and then. We're like, like those little those pets that I always let die that we used to wear in our rich.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah, those.
Tamagotchi.
I forgot what they were called, because the Fitbit is just, I'm the pet now that I'm trying to with my watch. Yeah, so then you monitor it, and then you can increase it or decrease it, or include more relevant, or create more conditions. And that serves for personalization, it serves for iteration, but it also serves for not having to create one giant automation all at once. Create it over time. So that's my TLDR.
Always be optimizing.
Love it.
What is
Love it.
ABO?
Yeah, I was like,
ABO?
ABO? Yeah, always
What's
be optimized.
what's the like an actual acronym? Always be selling or something?
ABC, always be selling, which
Yeah.
selling starts
Doesn't make sense. But always be optimizing. Monitor
selling
closely and optimize.
Oh man. Good
ABO,
stuff.
baby.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ricardo, for sending that one in. And also, I want to give a shout out to Juan Carlos really quick. He asked, every month my clients' customer satisfaction survey lands in the promotions tab. Juan Carlos, I got a bummer answer for you, but that promotions tab is the inbox. So technically, you are landing in the inbox right now. So,
But also, I want to know, is your domain authenticated? What is your engagement?
yep.
Are you optimizing for that? We also have webinars on that.
Yep.
Broken record. Authenticate your sending domain if you haven't.
Yep. Exactly.
Always
Right.
be closing. It's
Yeah,
not
that's what it
selling, it's
was.
closing. Thanks, Steve.
Oh,
The leads from Glengarry.
you're MVP of our webinar today. You're like,
Yeah.
always be selling. That makes no sense.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for Natalie and Julia for taking time on the day to always do amazing Email Academy sessions with us. Yes, if you want to stay in touch, Natalie, how can people find out what the amazing stuff you're doing in the Mailjet and email world?
I just dropped my LinkedIn on the chat. You can also find it in my profile. If you have feedback on Mailjet, I'm also the one seeing that on feedback.mailjet.com, and we love hearing from you.
Love it. And Julia Ritter, can people stay up to date with whatever you got going in the email world, or keep getting your amazing emails?
You can email me, community@mailjet.com. Whenever you get an email from us, you can reply there, and that's me, or reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Good to hear from y'all. Also, yeah, I'm also the producer for Emails Not Dead, the podcast by Mail Gonna Mailjet. Make sure you check out. We got a new episode about our time hosting Inbox Expo a few weeks ago, so check that out when you get a moment. Feel
Very
free
cool.
to connect with all of us as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we got to get back to our busy days, and Natalie gets to end her day, luckily, in amazing France. So, all right.
Have a
Well,
good
thanks
one.
everyone for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon.
See you
Take care.
soon.